Okay. So this is the first time I'm gonna be streaming the section that I have, which is Minute Bible, where I condense each chapter into 1 minute, but now I'm gonna expand it into an hour. So right now I'm on Luke 16. So I'm just gonna go through the process of how I write my notes. It's a slow and steady process. I like writing numerals because it just seems more fitting of the times. So the first story, as you could tell, I have on my other screen is the parable of the dishonest manager. Sorry, I want to get this in frame. The parable. Test. Parable of the dishonest manager. Nice. Okay, so I want to read it first before I actually do any notes. Then Jesus said to the disciples, "There was a rich man who had a manager, and charges were brought to him that this man was squandering his property. So he summoned him and said to him, 'What is this that I hear about you? Give me an accounting of your management, because you cannot be my manager any longer.' Then the manager said to himself, 'What will I do now that my master is taking the position away from me? I am not strong enough to dig, and I am ashamed to beg. I have decided what to do so that when I am dismissed as manager, people may welcome me into their homes.' So summoning his master's debtors one by one, he asked the first, 'How much do you owe me, my master?' He answered, 100 jugs of olive oil.' He said to him, 'Take your bill, sit down quickly, and make it 50. Then he asked another, 'And how much do you owe?' He replied, 100 containers of wheat.' He said to him, 'Take your bill and make it 80. And his master commended the dishonest manager because he had acted shrewdly. For the children of this age are more shrewd um, in dealing with their own generation than are the children of light. And I tell you, make friends for yourselves by means of dishonest wealth, so that when it is gone, they may welcome you into the eternal homes. Whoever is faithful in a very little is faithful also in much, and whoever is dishonest in a very little is dishonest also in much. If then you have not been faithful with the dishonest wealth, who will entrust to you the riches? And if you have not been faithful with what belongs to another, who will give you what is your own? No slave can serve two masters, for a slave will either hate the one and love the other, or be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and wealth." Um, the whole story is kind of confusing initially, but towards the end, I think it kind of makes its point. It's this is a very common um, how do you say um, theme, or it's one that I've heard. It's a very popular one where it says you cannot serve two masters. I think another version is you can't serve the devil and God. You can only serve one. So either serve one or the other. And here it says um, two masters. I have heard that one. For me, if I'm trying to find more explanation on the actual chapter, I'll look up the actual chapter. So, Luke 16. What does it mean? Like, try to get more insight. You know what I like to do? I like to look at images because I'm going to be drawing a lot of notes when I do this. So, I look at images. No servant can serve two masters. So, I like the idea of the hand. There's coins. Yeah, so serving money. You can't serve money and God. Um, so, I like looking at ideas. So this is my process in terms of what I do with notes. So it's like right now I'm expanding it into 1 hour, but then what this process is gonna be doing is that I'm gonna expand all this into 1 minute. So it's like kind of getting best of both worlds. It's like I'm reading this for the first time myself, so it's not like I've read this before, but I've heard a lot of stories um, because I grew up Catholic. So just googling it. I should start using DuckDuckGo because Google is well, the main. Okay, what is the meaning of Luke 16? The main point is describing how his disciples should think about money. Oh, and another thing, everyone's gonna have their own version, and you can't rely on just one source or one person's perspective on these things. So one father may have a difference of opinion in terms of another bishop, and so on, so on. So everyone's gonna have their own opinion, their own conclusions. But just I mean, that's the fun of it. We're all trying to like struggle. Oh, what does this mean? What does it mean when it says this? What does it mean when it says that? So I kind of find it very interesting to that the fact that this is debatable. It's not really straightforward, and the way I can't remember where it came up, but it's kind of known that the way God talks to people is through metaphors, and it's not very straightforward. I think Robert Bishop once said, he does this so we have something to do, which I find it really funny. But moving on, let's see. These look like really motivational quotes. Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. I didn't really get that, to be honest, but let's continue. But he said to him, if they do not listen to Moses and the prophets, they will not be persuaded even if someone rises from the dead. There's so many metaphors. Right now, I'm kind of going through a thinking process. I like to just review and just, go back to the first chapter. Yeah, this is this is what I do on my own. I'm just talking through the process. So it's kind of like, if anyone wants to know how I'm doing it, like it took a while for me to develop this kind of system, because it's like, if you look at my notes before, they were just words. They were just words. The notes were only for me, but as you can see, just words, and then slowly but surely I started drawing pictures, little images here and there, and so slowly they got better, and I realized, I could be doing this for more people, and so so you can see more images. If you do it with images, it just makes you register the information more. So I think the more images, the better. That's what's really going to pop out. And eventually, I started doing it on one side because the ink leaks. So that's why I'm always doing on this side. Okay, the parable of the dishonest manager. Yeah. So I have my Bible right here. So if I'm looking here, it's because I have my Bible in front of me, in front of my notebook. So a lot of cameras around here. So then Jesus said to the disciples, there was a rich man who had a manager, and charges were brought to him that this man was squandering his property. So he summoned him and said to him, what is this that I hear about you? Give me an account of your management, because you cannot be my manager any longer. And the manager said to himself, what will I do now that my master is taking the position away from me? So the purpose of these notes for me is not to try to give you what I think it says. I'm trying to do this in the manner of a reporter. So a reporter is just going to give you the facts. Oh, this is what I saw. This is what I found. Oh, kind of like a police report. So if there's a police report, you kind of just, you don't put anything that's of your perspective. That, oh, I think he did this. I think it's just, you kind of just explain what exactly you saw, what happened, just the facts. So I'm just kind of, giving you the facts. And then, because everyone's going to have their own conclusion. So even though I could try to explain what I think it is, I'm mostly going to give you what exactly it's trying to, no, just not trying to convey, but what it is at surface level. Because a lot of these things, were written in the time, so you would have to get the references. So that's why I like to Google things. if something really stands out, then I'll write it. But for the most part, it's gonna be a little bit of my perspective, but mostly like 80% of just okay. This is what I saw. The parable of the dishonest manager. So I'm still thinking. Okay, so I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw. Okay, so there's a rich man. I like starting with the drawings first. So he has his chest out, and then I think back in the days the rich wore like a rich hat, like this kind of like not a turban, but it's so hard to describe, but um, he's clearly a man of authority, as you can tell by his posture. And so there's the rich man, and sometimes if it's not so obvious, I'll write rich man. I'll label it right, rich man. And I'll make it fun, I'll put the dollar sign, ka-ching. And who is the rich man? This person. So that way, like, if you're looking at my notes, you're not gonna get lost. So I'm doing this for the lowest common denominator. If someone were to pick up my notes, I want to make it kind of very clear, very understandable, as to what I'm trying to explain, because I'm condensing in a minute. So there's only so much I could put. So there's a lot, and this is a long story. So in this chapter 16 of Luke, there are three stories. Three. There are three stories, and this one's kind of long. Sometimes they're short, sometimes they're long. And here I could only put so much, because I gotta make it nice, neat. Like for me, I like the design of it. I like to make sure that it's evenly spaced out. Earlier my notes were like very terrible, but now they're more clean. I do like design. I like spacing, so that for me is like the priority. It aesthetically pleasing and understandable. Okay, and then so I gotta go back to images. I'm not exactly sure what. Oh yeah, so as you can see, this is what I was talking about. So the rich man, he has some kind of turban, or I think it's a hat. It's not quite a turban. Yeah, so kind of like that. So that's what I kind of was kind of had the idea in my head of what I was drawing with that little hat. So baller alert. Okay, so anyways, no, okay, we've seen this one, but I want to see how the manager looks like. So as you can see, yeah, this guy, looks very authoritative, and that's probably like the manager. I still don't know. I gotta okay. Like for sure, this one has a lot of meaning. Like something means of the people, the Jewish people, the Israelites, or the Gentiles. It has some kind of like references that you need to know. So let's see. Let's hit up Wiki. Okay. Rich man Lazarus. Wait, is his name Lazarus? I don't know why it says. Okay, in these notes it says Lazarus. I'm not sure why, but. Well, anyways, you know what? See, if I run into a wall like this because this one's gonna be full of like crazy meanings. I'm just gonna go straight forward, right? So clearly, the manager is being told that he can't be a manager anymore. Okay, the money man. What will I do now that my master is taking position? Okay. Okay, so this is a good idea. All right. Okay, so, okay, watch this. Watch this. Okay, so this guy. So okay, so this guy's gonna be Trump, right? Watch. Like, you're fired. You know Trump's famous uh, quote, his famous line from that one show. Is it you're fired? Anyways, or is that Vince McMahon? So I don't mean to get off topic here, but or it could be Vince McMahon, right? He would go because I we used to see WWE. He would go, "You're fired." I can't remember who he said that to, but I remember he said, and of course Trump would say that line in The Apprentice. Okay, and then here's the manager. Manager. I like to keep it PG or even G when it comes to when I have the Bible open, I can't really take it. You know, it can't be too explicit with the references. I don't like to say naughty words. I like to keep everything G, or PG, parent guidance. Let's keep it friendly because it's the Bible, out of respect. Okay, and he was supposed to say something, right? So this is the rich man. You're fired. And what did they say? When they, like, I was gonna put gasp, but I'm trying to think now. Okay, I know. What will I do? Oh no, just gasp. Gasp. Like, I'm just trying to reduce it to as little words as possible. You're fired. Gasp. Because I want to complicate it more, but this is a long story, and there's way more meaning later on that I want to add. Okay, so I really have to break this down because I read it and I'm like, what did I just read? So now I'm gonna read from my computer screen because I have it here, I have it there, I have the same version. So if you guys are wondering, this is uh, the new revised. Shoot, hold on. Catholic edition. No, NRSV. NR. Hold on. Oh shoot. Hold on. Let me kind of like. Uh oh. Okay, this is the new revised standard version updated edition. No, this one. New revised standard version Catholic interconfessional. So let me show you a glimpse of what I have. So yeah, this is a really nice Bible. This one was purchased at Barnes and Noble. It's a Catholic version because I'm Catholic. All right. So anyways, oh, how do I bring these? Okay, there we go. Let's go back. Okay, so it's like, what will I do? My master is taking this. I like how they talk back then. They say master. It's like we would never say that nowadays. I'm not strong enough to dig. So this is kind of like an old man. Hey, he messed up. So, but he's not old enough to dig. Too shameful to beg. I've decided what to do. So No, I have decided what to do so that when I am dismissed as manager, people may welcome me. Oh, okay, yeah. So he kind of comes up with a plan, as in like he's gonna win the favor of the people of who owes his boss, his master. I'm gonna say boss right now because it's kind of weird if I say master. So the manager. Okay, so the manager, he's getting fired by his boss, and he's like, oh, what do I do? And so what he's gonna do is like he has maybe a few days left. So what he's gonna do is he's gonna get the favor of the people who owe him. So people owe him money because he's a rich guy, big money man, and so they owe him money, and he's gonna try to win their favor. So when he gets fired, he at least has a place to stay. He has relationships in terms of networking. Yeah, networking. So networking, he has built a network of people that he knows. Oh, hey, remember I did this favor to you or for you? Now, hey, help me out here. I'm in a bit of a pickle. So now, Mr. Manager can at least have a safety net when he's fired, because it seems he still has this position for a little bit. Okay, so let's moving on. So I like that. Okay, so I kind of know what's going on, because it kind of did make sense earlier. So he summoned him and said to him, but okay. Oh, so he was squandering. So he was not a very good manager. He was squandering his property. Rich man who had a manager, charges were brought to him, and that this man was squandering his money. So what's going to do? Give me an account of your management, because you cannot be my manager longer. Then the manager, okay, what I do? I have decided what to do. Okay, when I am dismissed as manager, people may welcome me into their homes. So summoning his master's debtors one by one, he asked the first, "How much do you owe, my master?" He answered, 100 jugs of oil. Okay, so okay. I have an idea, and like a little light bulb. So in his brain, let's see. I like drawing clouds. My little clouds come out puffy and nice, but my big clouds, I don't know. I gotta work on that one. Like I keep trying, but it doesn't really come out. Okay, so I don't know if I could. Okay, so yeah, so I don't want to zoom in because it's gonna mess up my focus. The parable. I have the rich man. I have the manager. And he's like, "Bing! I have an idea," and then his idea is gonna be right here. So when they have ideas, I like, and I'm gonna draw a picture of it. I like it that it's gonna come out of his brain like a, like a cartoon, like when the heart plays. Watch. Okay. Let's see. Move on to the next one. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So it's gonna be like little cutscenes. Watch. Okay. Be careful. If I know they're gonna do one thing with their hand, I'm not sure what to do with their other hand, so I just kind of put it down. And sometimes it looks awkward, but right here it's not so bad. It's kind of tiny, like I know, but like I gotta give it some space. And let me see if I could. I don't want it to lose focus. So there's a man right there, as you can see. I'm drawing it tiny because there's gonna be multiple cuts. So it's gonna be like an action scene ish. Okay. Actually, hold on. Okay, so instead of writing the whole word, you know, like how much money do you owe? I put a dollar sign and question mark. They kind of act. They kind of do. Like those 8-bit cartoons. There's these cutscenes, right? And so they go, "Meow, meow, 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 meow." They just kind of make a little 8-bit noise, and sometimes the text is just like kind of like random, or just not even text at all. But I kind of just want to leave it at the lowest resolution possible. Okay, so 100 jugs of olive oil. So I owe you three money. I don't know if you guys seen the meme, two kids or three money, or anyways, 100 oil. So I just like to keep it vague, but just bear with me. Um, okay, how much do you owe? 100 oil. Very simple stuff. And then, so he goes to multiple people. There's multiple people that owe his boss man. Okay. And his second speech bubble is going to be 50. So he goes, dun, dun, dun. Okay. Okay, so now moving to the next one. And he's all like, take your bill. Sit down and make it 50. Then he asks another, how much do you owe? Okay, so now it's all I'm always trying to decide whether to draw him on the left or right side. So maybe like I'll keep it consistent and just keep drawing him on the right side. Even though I kind of want to, yeah, just keep it consistent, Joe. Come on, Joe. Okay, so now he has kind of a pointy head, and just keep the same like hand gestures, you know. So they're all gonna have the same hand gestures. So money, money, money. Cuánto dinero, señor? Okay. And he's all like, I don't know this much. Yeah. So, I don't know. I owe this much. He's all like, I owe you this much. See, that's what I'm trying to represent with the hand gestures. So that guy's, how much do you owe me? And he's all like, okay. Hold on, a little coffee break here. Okay. Oh, so he's dishonest. He was dishonest on his own terms, but like for his own sake. Now he's dishonest for other people. So when he gets fired, he's gonna like have like a safety net. Well played, manager. Okay. Okay, so let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to find my place. Let's see. Oh, okay. So another thing is like, there's a lot of like numbers based ideas here. Like 12 is disciples and 12 appears a lot. So right now it's 100. I like every time I see a number, I have to write it down. Every time I see a name, I write it down. Every time I see like a location, a city, I write it down. So these are just like I need to have like these evidences when I'm writing notes. So I could tell what was referenced where. Okay, so now 100 wheat. 100 wheat. Okay. It says make it 80. And this guy says K, like like texting K. Like K. Yeah, make this guy say it too. Yeah, so I'm not sure what the metaphor is. Like sometimes it just comes up, but not often. 100 oil, make it 50. 100 wheat, make it 80. Okay, last one. So the dishonest manager, man, they really go and try to make a name of him like that because he had to truly. Okay, let's see. 80 and his master can truly for children of this age are more surely. And I tell you, make friends for yourselves by means of dishonest wealth, so that when it is gone, they may welcome you into the eternal homes. Hold on. Let's go back to the top. Oh, so Jesus is talking. So normally I put I'm gonna draw Jesus like somewhere in the bottom, because he's and so this whole idea comes from Jesus's brain. So like, if you could see another, so here's Jesus, and so this whole idea is gonna. So I'm gonna probably do something like that, because every time I do that, it represents, oh, Jesus is saying something. That's how I kind of remember. Oh, like this isn't just anyone talking. This is Jesus talking. So that's what I like to add to my notes. So let's go back. So it's a it's a very slow and steady process because I really have to comprehend it. Because you know how there's times where you just read something, you're like, what did I just read? With the Bible, it's just like almost 10 times worse, just because you have to. I mean, they live in a different time, so it's clearly not gonna register as fast. So I have to read it again and again. I mean, this is like like today. I mean, I just read it like 4 times. I read it twice. Like just once before I started recording, as a mock one, and then it was still hard to comprehend. So I still have to like slowly, bit by bit. It's kind of making more sense. So that's why I'm doing these notes, because if I don't do them, it's like if I just read it like one time, it's nothing. Like I'm probably gonna forget about it. Like for real. Like if I take the process to write it down, then it's not. Like I'm gonna, I should have took notes like this back when I was in high school or college, because that would have made much more difference. Like I didn't know how to take notes until I started doing this. Okay, so anyways, so Jesus is saying, yeah. So Jesus is saying, make yourself friends of dishonest wealth, so that when it's gone, they may welcome you. Whoever is who entrusts you to you. Okay. Whoever is faithful in a very little faithful. This is weird. It's so weird. It's giving me like tongue twisting syndrome. Whoever is faithful in a very little is faithful also in very much. No, in much. Whoever is dishonest in a very little is dishonest also in much. If then you have not been faithful with the dishonest wealth, who will entrust to you the riches? And if you have not been faithful with what belongs to another, who will give you what is your own? Okay, so this is really metaphorically. Towards the end, it kind of makes sense. I mean, it makes more sense, a lot more sense. So, let me try Jesus here. I thought there was another guy. Let me see. Yeah, I guess that's it. I'm really sure that I thought I saw 3. I was getting ready to draw a third person who owed them money, but it looks like there isn't. So I like drawing Jesus, like he's all like preaching, and like in this little stance. And it's Jesus because he has a little halo on him. So I don't label him because it's kind of obvious. So this is a thought bubble. To close this thought bubble, but I don't want to make it okay, there we go. It's close enough. I know there's a gap here, a gap there, but the idea's there. See, so it's like Jesus is telling the story. Whew, man, this is just one story. So like I'm 1/3 of the way done with this chapter, but a lot of the time, I mean I'm talking to the video, to the audience. That's what's really taking up the time. So like it's gonna take me like double of the time, because and we move forward. So the part that does make sense is down here. I'm not gonna put all this because it's too much. Like I can't put everything. It's gonna be a lot. Okay, I will put Jesus as. To put Whoever is faithful in a very little. This is okay. This is gonna be a little tricky. If then you have not been faithful with his sons, and if you have not been faithful, okay. I think I'll put the last one. Okay, so because I think it kind of goes with the theme. If you have not been faithful with what belongs to another, who will give you what is your own? Oh man, I left that one word. I don't like that, but I should have, either put more words on the bottom or made it fit in those two lines. But hey, oh well. So the next part I'm gonna put is okay. No slave can serve two masters, because this is one of the famous quotes. Very famous quote. I've heard it. I mean, I'm sure even people that don't even follow the Bible or are religious know this quote. No slave can serve two masters, because it goes beyond just the realm of the Bible. So, and I'll write it bigger and with quotes. No slave can serve two masters. Oh shoot. See, like, I try really hard to not make a mistake, but I mean, it's not that big of a deal. But the S, I kind of just had to squeeze it in. But I've done this so many times that, yeah, like the fact that I'm writing in pen, I'm like, I'm not, pre-planning this. Everything is just like off the top, and I've kind of made it to where it's a little better. So it's only gonna get better. I like to make it without any blemishes. So and sometimes my hand slipped. Oops, and I'm left-handed. Yeah, it's because I'm left-handed. Must be right. Well, they say left-handers are kind of, how do you say, more creative? Maybe. Okay, so the other quote was no slave. Okay, for a slave, slave, slave will hate one and okay. I'm gonna paraphrase this one. A slave will hate. Hate is such a strong word. One and love other. So it's like I'm kind of writing. Okay, a slave will hate one and love other, or kind of like because it is it's or yeah. Devote to one, despise other. Like what's his what's that guy in the family? No, not family. The Office. It's like, why use much words when few words do trick. I forgot his name. Kevin, right? Yeah, it just came to mind. Why use more words when few words do trick? So that's the objective here when I'm doing this. And voila. So let me just kind of date it. Today is the 20th. Wow. 5 20 24. Like I did it. I don't know why, because I'm psychotic like that. Anyways, Luke 16, the parable of the dishonest manager. The manager is fired by the rich man, and then the manager has an idea. He goes to people that owe his boss money, and he reduces their debt. This one owes 100 oil, and so he reduces it to 50. This one owes 100 wheat. He reduces it to 80. The manager that is running his finances, so that when he is fired, because he's already planned to get fired by his boss, he has a safety net in a sense. So now he has a place to stay because he reduced their debts. They owe him a favor now. They owe the manager a favor because he reduced their debts. And the point of it is, like, he was already dishonest for his own means, but now he's dishonest, so he has like a safety net. I'm not exactly sure what that means. This is a really kind of tough one, so I'm sure there's some kind of metaphor, but the famous quotes: "No slave can serve two masters. A slave will hate one and love the other. Devoted to one, and despise the other." Whoa. If you have not been faithful with what belongs to another, who will give you what is your own? I don't know exactly what this means, but at least I have the knowledge. Like right now, it's like, for me, like it's get the knowledge, like get the facts, what exactly is happening in this story, this chapter. And then once I know all the stories, then I could ask the priest, hey, what does it mean when it says blah blah blah? I mean, I could take the time to learn it right now, but then it's gonna slow me down. Whereas, okay, at least I know the story. I'm way more familiar with it now than ever. So I could ask a priest, and just ask multiple priests, just, hey, like, what does this mean? What do you think this means? What do you think that means? So now it's in my head. So right now, Luke is part of the Gospels, the third book of the Gospels. I think John is the next one that I'm reading. Okay, so okay, moving on. That was just one story. Okay, let me scroll this down. Can you guys see it? Can you guys see my pretty screen? I hope so. Okay, can I make it bigger? I don't know if that helps. Oh shoot. See, I say oh shoot, not the other word. Okay. The law. Okay, so I like to write it down. So I put a plus sign. The plus sign means it's a story, because another story. The plus sign with a circle. Okay. The law and the kingdom of God. Okay, now this is the second story in chapter 16 of Luke. Let's read it together. The Pharisees. Oh, and if you guys don't know what the Pharisees is, it's one of the Jewish priests. So the thing I kind of didn't realize until I started reading the Bible was that the Jewish and the Christians, we have the same first portion of the Bible. We both come from the Old Testament, but the Jewish still continue their way, and Christianity has the New Testament, which kind of broke away. So it broke away, and so now the Pharisees were the priests back then, and they were only Jewish, strictly Jewish. Us Christians would have been Gentiles. So back then, if you weren't Jew, you were a Gentile, or some other ways of describing people that were non-Jew. Okay. The law and the kingdom of God. The Pharisees, who were lovers of money. Whoa. Yeah, so Okay, the Pharisees, who were lovers of money, heard all this and they ridiculed him. So when they say heard all this, they heard they heard the previous story, as in the story of the parable of the dishonest manager. So every time there's a chapter and it says, oh, like he heard that, and it's referring to the one before. So now this is the other story. And so the Pharisees, heard all this, and they made fun of him, made fun of Jesus. Man, they're so cruel. So he said to them, "You are those who justify yourselves in the sight of others, but God knows your hearts. For what is prized by human beings is an abomination in the sight of God. The law and the prophets were in effect until John came. Since then, the good news of the kingdom of God is proclaimed, and everyone tries to enter it by force. But it is easier for heaven and earth to pass away than for one stroke of a letter in the law to be dropped." Whoa, heavy metaphors. "Anyone who divorces his wife and marries another commits adultery." Oh, there's a reference to some of the rules. And whoever marries a woman divorced from her husband commits adultery. Yeah. Okay, so this is a short, sweet, to the point. Okay, so so the Pharisees kind of making fun of him, but Jesus is kind of saying, God knows what's in your heart, and what's in your heart, what is loved by human beings is not good according to God. Let's see, the law and the prophets were in effect until John came. So I think, so when it says John, it's probably referring to John the Baptist, one of the disciples. Since the good news of the kingdom, so the good news, so Jesus is here to preach the good news. So this is what I know. So if I kind of know, then I'll tell you. But most of the stuff is like, whoa, like I'm not exactly sure what it's talking about. The kingdom of God is proclaimed, and everyone tries to enter it by force. Okay, so luckily this one's short. So let me see. Okay, let's see. Oh, you know what? I gotta give him. I need. Okay, so everything's here. So what I normally do is to make it extra neat. You see how there's blemishes in my new this page. So what I do is just fold the paper in half. So like everything's like a slow process to make it nice and neat. This is what I do for the people. By the people, for the people. Okay, so just so it won't bleed, because I like this pen because it writes heavy, so it forces me to write with bigger words and bigger drawings, because I naturally just write tiny and small, and I want to make sure that people could see what I'm writing, and so but this thing bleeds heavily, so now it's not my anti-bleeding device. All right. Pharisees. There was a rich man who had a manager, and charges were brought to him. No, that's the Pharisees. Okay, so I think I know what to do here. So once I get the juices flowing. So the Pharisees, they have these funny hats. And me being a minimalist drawer, you're going to have to see what I'm talking about. So Pharisees. So you've seen them. You've seen the movie, what's it called, Passion of the Christ. And if you haven't seen The Chosen, I highly recommend that. Really good show. It's not cheesy. It's very well done. Super good. By Angel Studios. They should promote me. Hey. Anyways. Yeah. Crucify him. Crucify him. These are the ones that. So as you can see, they have these funny hats, and as you can see, my guy right here has these funny hats as well. I mean, they're kind of luxurious, but nowadays they would, if you were caught with one of these, it's kind of funny, So, my man with a funny hat, he's going ha ha ha. So just basically reducing every single part of this story. And it specifically says, okay, and so in his this is okay, like this is I'm just telling you what the Bible said. In his mind, he has money because, as it says in the Bible, the Pharisees who were lovers of money. Anyways, they ridiculed him, and so he's going ha ha ha. The law and the kingdom of God. So I just kind of inspiration time. The law and the kingdom of God. Luke 16. What does this mean? What does this mean? I mean, I guess it mostly sums up that. I mean, that's kind of easy. Okay. Whew. Okay. So, like, this is intense. Like, even though I've only described one story so far, now it's like when I have to do another one, it's like, oh, like the gears have to turn again. So, he said to them, okay. Jesus with his halo. And I don't want everyone to have like the same hand gestures. So it's just like, God knows what's in your heart. Rather than writing the whole heart symbol, rather than writing the word, I just do the symbol. Okay, there we go. Okay, moving on, and then I have my own Bible here. Okay, but the Bible's here too. Okay, yeah, like I should have done something with this space, but there's not much going on here, so I'm gonna have to write big here. For easier for heaven and earth to. Okay, well, I know what I could do. So there is a reference to the earth. I'll draw our traditional earth, even though. Okay. Anyways, I have the earth, and it says heaven. So when it does heaven, see something to cover up the blemishes. Okay. So I like to make this the gates to heaven, and I'm trying to make this as simple as possible. I've done good gates of heaven, and I've done not so good ones. Okay ones, I guess. This one's kind of cool. Ooh, this one kind of looks nice. Yeah, so this one I'm just like kind of doing it off the top. I like this one. This is gonna be my go-to way because when it says heaven, this is what I draw. I'm drawing because like kind of this is a short chapter, not much going on here. So it says, where is that? Okay, here it is. Heaven and earth to pass away, and for one. So I guess. Like I'm gonna draw like the wind. You know how the wind passes away. So this is kind of like metaphor. That's the best I can do for pass away. Cause this, if I don't like doing tombstones or things like that. I like that. So it just like the wind, it just passes away. So it is easier for heaven and earth to pass away than for one stroke of a letter in the law to be dropped. Okay, so then one stroke. Okay. I kind of find that hard to visualize. One stroke of a letter. Easy for heaven to pass away than for one stroke of a letter in the law. A letter in the law. Oh my gosh, what is it talking about? Hebrew. One stroke of a letter in the law to be dropped. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna go with what I had originally in my head. So let's say. So the law is supposed to be attached here. It's not it's not my best drawing, but this is one stroke of a letter. The letter is L. In the law, the word is law, to be dropped, and yeah, that's the best I can do. Okay, so here's the main part. Here's the kicker. Anyone who divorces his wife and marries another commits adultery. Okay, I'm gonna write it like in notes form. I'm gonna draw a line to like space it out. Adultery. So it's kind of like the thing, adultery. Divorced wife. So basically, you only get one shot at this. Divorced wife. Marry another. Let's see. Marries another. Okay. Let's continue this line. Just like separate. Okay, there we go. Marries a woman, divorced from her husband. Marries one. Okay. Marries. Divorce. Woman. Okay, so and yeah, so it's kind of like these two are like kind of combined. So these two combined. Okay, this one's fairly straightforward. Moving on to the last one. This one is kind of long. Yeah. All right. The Rich Man and Lazarus. Man, this is like I said, very intense study. The plus the rich man Lazarus. I forgot who Lazarus was, but he sounds so familiar. I wonder. Definitely heard that name before. Okay, so there was a rich man who was dressed in purple and fine linen, and who feasted sumptuously every day. Ooh. And at his gates lay a poor man named Lazarus, covered with sores, who longed to satisfy his hunger with what fell from the rich man's table. Okay, I kind of remember the story. This is one that I heard in my childhood. Anyways, even the dogs would come and lick his sores. Wow, what a painting of the image. The poor man died and was carried away by the angels to be with Abraham. The rich man also died and was buried in Hades, where he was being tormented. He looked up and saw Abraham far away with Lazarus by his side. He called out, "Father Abraham, have mercy on me, and send Lazarus to dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, for I am in agony and in these flames." But Abraham said, "Child, remember that during your lifetime you received your good things, and Lazarus in like manner evil things, but now he is comforted here, and you are in agony. Besides all this, between you and us a great chasm has been fixed, so that those who might want to pass from here to you cannot do so, and no one can cross from there to us." He said, "Then, Father, I beg you to send him to my father's house, for I have 5 brothers, that he may warn them, so that they will not also commit into this place of torment." Abraham replied, "They have Moses and the prophets. They should listen to them." He said, "No, Father Abraham, but if someone goes to them from the dead, they will repent." He said to him, "If they do not listen to Moses and the prophets, neither will they be convinced, even if someone rises from the dead." Whoa, that was deep. And these stories, they get really gruesome sometimes, and sometimes it's so odd how Jesus tells his stories. And boy, in this instance, I don't know if Jesus was talking. Oh yeah, no, actually, hold on. Oh, some sayings of Jesus. Yeah. So at the wait, does that say that at the end? Oh, that's odd. In the Bible here, it says some sayings of Jesus. Oh no, hold on, never mind. That's for next time. Anyways, okay, last one. Okay, let's see, the rich man and Lazarus. Okay, let's see what kind of pictures they have for this one. Yeah, figured. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, I think I'll draw something like this. Oh, shoot. Okay. Okay, I gotta make this quick because it is getting exhausting. It's a lot of mental how do you say? But it's good. I like the work. Okay, so here's another rich man. I like this kind of picture. So let's see. This kind of down here. And then looks nice. I like the expressions, even though it's so minimal. In the dog. I'm not good at drawing dogs, but how do the ears look like? Yeah, I mean, yeah. So very minimalist. Yeah, and the fun part is that they're kind of crude. They're sometimes they're really crude, but you could tell what's going on. Because as you can see, like his tongue is sticking out. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, licking the source, right? And then I've never had to draw heck here. I say heck, but let's see. It's gonna be tricky. Okay. I know what to do. So here's the rich man. Now he's in. Okay. There we go. Nice. Okay. Yeah, fire is really sporadic. Maybe one more. Okay, I mean, if you could tell, that's kind of, heck. Let's see. What else am I gonna draw here? Okay. Okay. So and then so you can kind of tell he's the poor man. He has so you could I'm drawing the scabs, right? And then but in heaven he doesn't have any scabs. So actually yeah. So you can see there's no scabs once he's in heaven, and then he's with Abraham. And here's okay, and so I have to label them because Abraham. And they're in clouds. There we go. Nice. And then what happens? I think. Okay. Rich man Lazarus. Let's see. Died. Hades. Okay. I like that. Okay. Yeah. Rather just say Hades. Much better. Rich man. Lazarus. So, and then let's continue. Father Abraham. Oh, yeah. Oh, warn my brothers. Um, warn my family. Um, let's see, five brothers. And then he kind of just says like Moses and prophets. Okay, so I'll draw him here in this little cutscene. So, Moses and prophets. Just remember, keep it simple. Just saying the minimum. hmm Okay, so I'll stop here just because this is as far as I'm going to do drawings. I might make a few notes here and there, but other than that, this is how we have Luke chapter 16. So the story was the parable of the dishonest manager, the law and the kingdom of God, and the rich man and Lazarus. So in a few moments, you will see this reduced into 1 minute. 3 stories. All right.